Hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. That's right, today we're here for a brand new movie review. And if you're not sure, this is going to be a non-spoiler review because I was very lucky to go see this film at an early screening. It's not out to in a day or two, so yeah. It's rare I come on and talk about these random films now. Normally I tend to just do the big blockbusters because people normally want to hear my thoughts on them, is the way I see it. But every now and then there's a film that comes out and it's like, I need to go on the internet and talk about this one. And that was Godzilla -1. Now, Godzilla for me, I've loved Godzilla ever since I was young. I'll be honest, the first one that I saw growing up with was that terrible American Zilla movie. I knew it was bad even when I was a kid, but I enjoyed it nevertheless. And then I come to see the 2014 Gareth Edwards movie. And then around the time King of the Monsters was coming out, I was like, do you know what? I need to explore real Godzilla, the Toho Godzilla films. I was very lucky. I bought myself the Criterion set a number of years back. And in this year to year and a half period, I went through and not only watched all of the, the Showa era films, I think they call it, the Showa era. I went through the Heisei era films, the modern, the Minelli era films. I watched Shin Godzilla. I watched the 3 animated movies on Netflix. I watched everything Godzilla I could get my hands on. I become this huge Godzilla fan. I got a little Godzilla corner in my room up there with 3 posters, a little model of Godzilla, and my Criterion set. I love Godzilla. I think it's just such a really cool little idea, and the way they've expanded on that original classic movie with all these other monsters now is just incredible. And every time I see something Godzilla, like we got Monarch airing at the minute, for example, or there's a new movie coming out, whether it be an American one, a Toho one, or something else like on Netflix, it's always exciting to try and theorize, oh, you know, what could we see in this? What could Godzilla be doing? Is he going to be bad? Is he going to be good? What other creatures, monsters? Is Ghidorah, is Mothra going to show up? I just love that little universe, and from there it's expanded as well. I've really become a big fan of things like Gamera as well. It led me on to things like yokai monsters and obviously King Kong. I already liked King Kong, to be fair, but you know, I went and discovered some of his films that I hadn't seen, and yeah, it's just so amazing. And yeah, obviously I prefer the Japanese Toho movies like I think 99% of people on the planet do. But I've never seen one in the cinema. Shin Godzilla, I did buy that on Blu-ray on release, actually, but I didn't get to go to the cinema to see it, so I missed that. This is my first Toho Godzilla film on the big screen. And I can't believe I'm saying this, because out of all of the 30-plus films I watched of Godzilla, I didn't think that my favourite one would be the first one I got to see on the big screen. I think this is the best Godzilla film. I really do. I really try not to let films, you know, win me over so easily in the cinema. And I don't normally. Normally I don't. Films that I've grown to love, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Batman, they're 2 good examples of films I saw in the cinema. Walked out the cinema like, yeah, they were good, but I need to let this sink in a bit just to assure myself on how I feel about them. This is the best Godzilla film I've seen. I think it is the best Godzilla film, for a number of reasons. Number one, let's look at the big boy himself, Godzilla. He is unbelievable in this movie. His design, for a start, is brilliant. Don't get me wrong, it's not my favourite Godzilla design ever. You know, I think the legs are a little bit chunky. But he's a really cool looking Godzilla. Some of his powers, when he uses his powers and abilities, the way that what his body does with that is great. Obviously, I'm going to try and avoid spoiling here, but if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I mean. The laser beam stuff is all, you know, his atomic beam it's so cool. The scenes where he uses that is just incredible. And like you see it in the trailer, the shot where he's like chasing the boat and you can see his head. It's so reminiscent of, this looks like like a guy in a suit almost, but yeah, at the same time, the CGI and the effects on this, it's just all incredible, and it all blends together to really make one of the best looking Godzillas ever. The idea about him being an unstoppable force again, like the original, is great. When he just gets to a city and starts walking through it, it's incredible watching it. Yeah, everything surrounding him, brilliant. And how they sort of take him down at the end, because, you know, as a Godzilla film, he's always going to go down at the end. It's really cool as well. The human characters, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've cared for human characters in Godzilla films. It just doesn't happen. You don't go to Godzilla films for that, in all fairness. But this one, wow, like, you really do get connected to the main characters. The lead protagonist, he's he's living in shame because he was a kamikaze pilot who couldn't go through with it, and he's living in shame, and people are constantly reminding him of that, and he sort of brings himself back, and it's a bit of a redemption story for him. And around him, you've got these characters he's connected to, like there's a love interest in this one for him, who has a little girl with her, and their little bond is really great. That it all feels natural, and the chemistry's great. And then some of the side characters as well, like he has this crew that he sort of knows as like a scientist guy, for example, who's kind of smart, and I think he was a general in the war or something. Really, really cool. The human characters all feel very natural, and they work very well. And it doesn't feel like they're just in this plot for the sake of it, like a lot of the American ones do. It's like, yeah, let's put Millie Bobby Brown right front and centre. There's no reason for her being there. We're just going to force her down your throats. It's not like that. These characters feel a natural part of the story. They belong there, which I loved. And the story itself is really good, really interesting. I think it all flows really well. The pacing of the film is great. The score, oh my god, the score. Obviously, we get some of that original Godzilla theme music in there. And along with that, the new pieces are just brilliant. Yeah, I think this movie is nearly perfect. There's something that happens at the end which was a bit like, not sure about that. There's a certain character whose story you sort of think is done, and something happens at the end, and if you've seen it, you know what it is. I wasn't huge on that little bit, but other than that, this film was stellar. My favourite Godzilla film, and right up there with my favourite films of the year. Godzilla -1, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10 to. Guys, make sure you go watch this movie in the cinema. It deserves all your support. Let's get a sequel to this film. I want to see a sequel to this movie. Yeah, because I've heard it is a prequel to the original, but I'm sort of in the mindset of blow that off. The original it's a great movie. It is what it is, but let's just, make this its own thing now. Let's just keep going. Let's do another Godzilla film. Maybe let's get another monster in there. Let's roll. I'm in. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message. And as always, I'll see you next time for another video. Bye-bye.